What's poppin', yo? I'm here to talk about these Pyroar buffs and changes. Man, they are so perfect and fitting, and I would love to get into my thought process behind them and how they play. But before I can get into explaining all that stuff, first of all, shout out to you if you're a new viewer. If you're a returning viewer, you can always skip ahead like 30 seconds or a minute just to get past the intro. But if you're new here, I recommend you pause the video and read the description. I've got a bullet-pointed list that'll explain like the fundamentals of the ROM hack, the basics of it, and give you a lot of much-needed background information on how things are balanced and why everything has changed so much. Also, when you're done with the video, don't click off yet, but when you're done, you can check out all my other videos, you can check out my Discord, and most importantly, you can check out the Google Sheet, and most importantly on the Google Sheet, you can check out this move guide right here. If you scroll through it in order, it's all organized into categories, and it's intended to be just scrolled through and like understood that way, but you can also go through individually each by category, or you can search each move, but honestly, I would say the best way to understand all the moves is just to scroll, and it's not that hard. So, Pyroar. Pyroar's super cool. They always should have been a mixed attacker in my opinion. It makes perfect sense for them to be one. In vanilla, they don't really have the BST to be a mixed attacker, but in a ROM hack like this, where the BST thresholds are different and much higher overall, I can get away with, a 550 Pyroar. It's like most 3 stages are 550, and quite a few 2 stages are also 550 as a benchmark, I guess. I usually tend to base it on like the vibes, and Pyroar has the vibes, so... Yeah, super cool. Very strong mixed attacker. He has incredible abilities offensively and instinct and quick feet and then intimidate, all of which are very obviously fitting for, a giant lion. Intimidate specifically, I mean, it already fits just based off his design, but specifically they also have Unnerve normally in vanilla, so there you go. And instinct, it makes a lot of sense for any animalistic Pokemon, but especially a lion. And then it's also really cool for the mixed attacking stuff. And then quick feet also makes sense given that they're, a lion. And it's also really cool that they're normal type, so they can run like quick feet facade, which is super dope. You can also Terra to run Flame Orb if you really want, but Toxic Orb isn't really a big deal in an in-game context because you're ideally only getting like maybe 2 to 3 turns at a time before you have to switch out anyway. And it's not like the toxic timer is like significant like it is in competitive, right? Where like you're taking so much other residual damage every turn. In this case, it's not a big deal. Although I will say quick feet plus recoil moves might be a bit risky, which is why I ended up putting the recoil moves a bit earlier than usual, because Toxic Orb plus Double Edge, Flare Blitz, Overheat recoil would actually start to add up, and you also have some other recoil coverage moves like Takedown, Play Rough, and Wall Charge and Hell Thrust. So those are all great moves, of course, but with quick feet specifically, you probably should be careful using them. You can still get like 1 kill with that, but then you're probably going to switch out or switch to another move, which is good. That's the beautiful part of having quick feet, is you can switch between your moves at will, versus with instinct and choice scarf, you're locked into one move, which isn't a bad thing when you're +1 attack or special attack. It's very strong, but just something to keep in mind. Intimidate is also really good, obviously, for very straightforward reasons. You can use it to pivot around. You can baton pass a U-turn with Intimidate to pivot. You can use it just to switch in easier to like kill something, with Scarf or Quick Claw, or like a defensive bulky set with Morning Sun and Yawn and other Will-O-Wisp, etc. It's Battle Cry as well. Battle Cry plus Intimidate is great. So this thing can definitely be used defensively. Fire Normal has some really good resists and immunities because Fire in general has 6 resistances. So you resist Fire, Grass, Ice, Steel, Fairy, and Bug, and you're immune to Ghost. So that's all really good traits to have for pivoting around and whatnot. That normal typing especially is good for Rhyme, but in general it's just good for that dual stab, and the fighting weakness isn't really a big deal. Yeah, it means that you have a harder time switching on fighting moves with Intimidate even, but it's not, I would say it's still worth it for that immunity and that dual stab. And also they got that whole sound thing going on because they're a lion, which is why I threw on Boom Burst at the end game. It's now quote-unquote only 120 power, which is still very strong. It's the same. It's actually slightly bigger than Double Edge, but of course Double Edge deals some recoil, while Boom Burst has no drawback. In terms of other really strong normal stab moves, you've also got Hyper Beam and Giga Impact, which are awesome, especially with Instinct, because you can switch in, get a +1 attack or a special attack, and then you have Hyper Beam, Giga Impact, Blazing Assault, and Blast Burn, all of which function like Draco Meteor now. So you can, blow shit up with your +1. Dude, +1 off of 109 offenses is incredibly strong. And with Quick Feet, the beautiful thing with Quick Feet is you can run a fully mixed set because 109 speed is already quick, right? So your Pyroar with a neutral speed nature, you're outspeeding the entire game with very little EVs even. Like, you only need, say you want to outspeed a base 120 Pokemon. So you have to hit 370, I mean this is just at level 100 of course, but if you want to outspeed a base 120 Pokemon, you only need to run 24 speed EVs to outspeed that. just to put it in perspective, right? So you can slap the rest into your bulk to switch in easier. You can slap the rest into both of your offenses to go for mixed attacking sets, which is really good, especially with Blazing Assault, Blast Burn, Giga Impact, Hyper Beam, right? You could run a Quick Feet, and then you could click like Facade, and then click Hyper Beam, and then click Blazing Assault, and just go crazy. You know, you go crazy with Quick Feet. Super awesome. I would love to use this guy. He's just so versatile and fun, and I think the abilities are so cool. Specifically Quick Feet and Instinct combo with the Intimidate. I just think they're really like satisfying. You know, offense boosting ability, speed boosting ability, and defensive utility ability. Litleo is also great. It's quick, obviously with Quick Feet. It's got Facade relatively early on at 3 badges, which is, you know, like late 20s, early 30s. So that's very early for Facade. You've got, again, the good old reliable like Morning Sun, Yawn, Leer, Growl, Dismal Cry, Disarming Voice, tons of debuffing moves. You've got some priority, Dual Stab in Swift, Quick Attack, Power Dash, and Ignite. You've also got First Impression later on. Got some cool multi-hit moves. You've got Hoodwink for coverage at level 13 specifically for the fighting type star boss for this one path, one of the 5 game versions. She's the first boss, so it's cool to have, you know, if you're weak to fighting, you have Hoodwink for coverage versus her, which is definitely useful. I mean, shit, a +1 instinct boosted Hoodwink will blow up, you know, quite a few of her Pokemon. And that's not even considering the fact that every Pokemon on your team can Terra too. Your Terra is supposed to be randomized, and honestly, in the future, I might have to end up banning it or limiting it more, but so far, I'm going to, you know, at least for the initial release, I'm going to have the intended rule be, you know, whatever it is. But those rules will change as the game goes on, of course. So honestly, not too much else. It's pretty straightforward. It's very strong. The bulk is good, right? 86 HP is really high. 72 defense with Intimidate is very good. The Spadef is meager. I had to drop it by 1 just to make the stats look nice. I was considering semi-pseudo for them to give them 81 defenses instead, 81 defense in both. But I don't know if they have the vibes to the semi-pseudo really, to be honest with you. So I ended up just keeping the stats they have now. Not that it's a big deal. I mean, the bulk would be nice, but it's not like game changing or anything. The main thing is just the abilities and the moves. Excuse me. Jesus, I'm sorry. I don't know. That's pretty much it. I mean, Body Slam, Hyper Voice are both 95 power stabs. Retaliate's 100 power, no drawback. Boom Burst Throat Spray stuff could be kind of cool late game, but you're not that fast, so you would have to do it with like Trailblaze or something. Because 1-on-1 speed looks great, and it is good, but without Quick Feet, and say for example you're only getting a neutral speed nature because you're not guaranteed plus speed, you're only hitting 306 speed, so you're only outspeeding base 90. You're actually speed tying a base 90 on the AI, so that's definitely why Quick Feet is good, because you're basically a base 90 speed Pokemon most of the time without that Quick Feet or without a Trailblaze boost or something. You know, you got Bursting Flames to break through Focus Sash. Endeavor can be useful. Slash is cool with Scope Lenses alongside moves like Shadow Claw and Laceration. Inferno with Wide Lens could be decent with same with Fire Blast and Focus Blast, but that's pretty niche. Temper Flare and Wildfire are both Wicked Blow variants, so what that means is with Choice Scarf and Instinct, you can't spam them, but with Quick Feet, you can switch between them, which is cool, because those moves both can't be used twice in a row. That's their drawback, instead of dealing recoil. Temper Flare via TM and then Wildfire's level up, so those are both really good as well. Obviously CC is good coverage too, you know, Scorching Sand, Stomping Tantrum, blah 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 blah, you guys get the idea. Burn Up is super dope on them as well. It gives you a guaranteed burn and removes your fire typing, which can be useful for a lot of, like, for example, you want to click Burn Up in front of something, that's going to then live the hit, get burnt, and then say, for example, they're going for like a ground move or a rock move, now you're neutral to it, right? So that's all really cool as well. And in general, yeah, Litleo's super, I mean, really fucking strong for early game, man. Even up until level 32, it's very quick with the Quick Feet, and it's very strong with Instinct, and it's very bulky with Intimidate. So, yeah, really happy with how these guys turned out. You could also do some, like, Roar Throat Spray shenanigans, I guess, with Instinct. That could be kind of cool. Roar is a priority 1 PP move, so you could, like, Roar something out, get +1, and then you get +1 from Instinct as well. But again, you would have to use Trailblaze to boost your speed at that point. Or just use it to get 1 kill. Like, for example, you get a free +2 special attack, and then you can blow up whatever you switch in on, whatever comes in, maybe with Ignite, for example, or with Swift, you know, something like that. So, yeah, that's about it. I think I've covered pretty much everything I need to talk about, so thank you for listening, and I'll be back for more coming up, y'all. Peace.